Good afternoon everyone, myself Himaja. I'm here to present our assignment. My group mates are Anusha S, Lalitha G S, Keerthana KS. Let me start with an introduction. Here, the presentation introduces a virtualization, which is the technology that lets us run multiple operating systems on a single physical machine, which is shortly known as it allows a multiple operating systems to run on a single physical machine. A virtual machine acts as a separate computer with its own virtual CPU, memory, and storage. A virtual machine which acts like a separate computer with its own virtual resources like CPU and memory. The tool were using Oracle VirtualBox to create the manage these VMS. The main core goal of this is of demonstrate is to install and run different OS flavors like Ubuntu and Windows to compare their performance, interface and resources. Usage in virtualized setting. This provides a very way to understand virtualization concepts and OS characteristics. The experimental setup of this assignment is host machine, where it is a Intel Core i5 type and 8 GB RAM, 512 GB SSD with an Windows 11. Virtualization tool Oracle VM VirtualBox version 7.x. Guest OS Ubuntu 22.04 LTS and Windows 10. VM configuration. Here we have VM configuration as RAM as a 2048 MB processor, 1 CPU, hard disk with a 20 GB, network with an N80. And this is all about the introduction and the experimental setup. Thank you.
My name is Keerthana KS. My topic is Implementation Steps Part 1. In that one, install VirtualBox on your system. Set up Oracle VirtualBox to create and manage virtual machines. Next, created a new VM Ubuntu 22.04. Allocated system resources like RAM, CPU, storage and selected Ubuntu like 64-bit as the OS type. Attached Ubuntu iOS and installed OS. Mounted the Ubuntu 22.04 iOS file and followed the installation process to figure the system. Installed guest additions. Added guest additions to enhance graphics, enable shared clipboard and improve overall performance. Next topic is implementation steps part 2. In that one, opened key applications in Ubuntu VM. Launched Chrome Terminal, File Manager and VS Code to stimulate real-world usage. Next, monitored system performance. Observed CPU and memory usage in the system, monitored to analyze resource consumption. Next, compared with Windows Task Manager. Performed similar tasks on Windows and compared performance metrics like CPU load and RAM usage. Next, created VM snapshots. Saved two snapshots. First one is clean install like that right after OS setup. Next, after apps open after launching applications for performance comparison and easy restore. Thank you.
My name is Lalitha G S. Today I am going to explain about the observation. In this observation, we are going to see about the output of this, the Windows 11 observation, the content, the screenshot of what we look in Task Manager in the Windows 11. This purpose is the Task Manager is standard tool for monitoring the resource usage like CPU, memory, disk, network and managing the resourcing process on the Windows system. The key detail in the small and difficult to read precisely but in the list of processing and the respective consumption of the resource. This observation is likely being to use the resource system while running the specific task or under certain load window level. Ubuntu observation. The screenshot of Ubuntu system monitor application. The purpose. The system monitoring Ubuntu or Linux distribution service a similar function to the window task manager. It shows the resource usage and a list of running, and there is a process list near top in the consuming noticeable. The percentage of CPU example, one line show relatively high CPU percentage perhaps during the resource intensive operation. The header of the system monitor explains Ubuntu system monitor. The observation is providing the equivalent resource usage for data same task or load in the Ubuntu system. Then we move to the binding. The topmost corner presents slight work model. To the given precious example, you would need to know that specific topic. Next on this OS condition, the CPU and memory, the Ubuntu ideal 1.3% 800 MB, and with the apps it take 10 to 12%, it will take 1.5 GB. Windows ideal 2 to 2.5 percentage, that going to be 1.5 GB. This observation, we will see that Ubuntu is lighter and faster. The Windows user more memory and CPU. Thank you.
Good afternoon everyone. My name is Anusha. Today I am going to explain about the comparative evolution. This slide summarizes the performance comparison between the two operating systems, Ubuntu and Windows 11. Based on the previous slide's image, Ubuntu performs characteristics smooth and lightweight. This refers to the general user experience due to its minimalist design. Compared to Windows, Ubuntu often feels more responsive, especially an older or lower spec hardware. Tasks like switching between application, booting up, and basic file operations are reviewed as quicker. Presentation point. Our observation of the system monitor shows that even with a graphical interface running, Ubuntu had less process overhead, contributing to a smoother, less resource taxing experiences. User fears resources. Explanation. This is the key technical takeaway. Fewer resources primarily means lower ideal CPU utilization and less RAM memory consumption by the operating system itself and its default background services. This leaves more resources available for the user's primary applications. Presentation point. The system monitors screenshot confirm this. The baseline resources usage, particularly ideal memory consumption, was noticeably lower in Ubuntu than Windows. Second one is Windows performance characteristics, heavy on CPU and memory. Windows, especially modern version like Windows 11, includes many more background service, telemetry features and a more complex graphical shell, which inherently requires more CPU and RAM just to run the operating system. This is what's turned OS overall slower under same step. When the same task compiling a program, loading a large web page, running a specific application is performed on both OS on the identical hardware setup. The one with lower OS overhead often completes the task faster because more CPU time and memory are directly available on the application, not in the OS. Conclusion. Performance depends on hardware, RAM and VirtualBox confirmation. This is a crucial qualifying statement that it's. Next come to the conclusion. Virtualizations allows running multiple OS on one computer. This is the core benefit of visualization. We are using a program to create virtual machines that acts like separate computers, each capable of running its own OS simultaneously on the same physical hardware. Next, Ubuntu performs better with limited resources. This suggests the presenter compare OS performance within a visualized environment where resources were D library kept low Ubuntu using a Linux-based OS typically has a lower resources OS compared to Windows. Third one, VirtualBox is useful for testing and comparing OS performance. VirtualBox is a specific tool used for the experiment. It provides a standardized and controlled environment to install and run different operating systems side by side, making the performance comparison fair and rigorous. Thank you, Venugopalan.